So I'm going to continue reading from Essential Native Wisdom by Carol Kelly Gungi. Not sure how you say the surname. I have a page marked. Let's get to it. Okay. So this section is removal and its legacy. We are now about to take our leave and kind farewell to our native land, the country that the Great Spirit gave our fathers. We are on the eve of leaving that country that gave us birth. It is with sorrow that we are forced by the authority of the white man to quit the scenes of our childhood. We bid a farewell to it and all we hold dear. George Hicks, Cherokee, written in a letter to John Ross about the Trail of Tears, November 1838. I'm gonna get some more tea. You said that you wanted to put us on a reservation, to build us houses and make us medicine lodges. I do not want them. I was born upon the prairie, where the wind blew free, and there was nothing to break the light of the sun. I was born where there were no enclosures, and where everything drew a free breath. I want to die there, and not within walls. 10 Bears, Yamparika Comanche, speech at the Medicine Lodge Creek Peace Conference, 1867. This land belongs to us, for the Great Spirit gave it to us when He put us here. We were free to come and go, and to live in our own way, but white men who belong to another land have come upon us, and are forcing us to live according to their ideas. That is an injustice. We have never dreamed of making white men live as we live. They gave us meat, but took away our liberty. The white men had many things that we wanted, but we could see that they did not have the one thing we liked best: freedom. Sitting Bull, Hunkpapa Lakota, remarked to a journalist who interviewed him at Fort Randall while he was a prisoner of war, South Dakota, 1882. Can I get some more tea? My throat keeps catching. Keeps getting sounds a little funny. Hope it doesn't sound too funny when you watch this. Friends, it has been our misfortune to welcome the white man. We have been deceived. My countrymen shall the glittering trinkets of this rich man, his deceitful drink that overcomes the mind. Shall these things tempt us to give up our homes, our hunting grounds, and the honorable teaching of our old men? Shall we permit ourselves to be driven to and fro, to be herded like the cattle of the white man? Red Cloud, Oglala Sioux, speech given shortly before he and his band were forced by their circumstances to submit to the reservation, 1866. Tell General Howard I know his heart. What he told me before I have in my heart. I am tired of fighting. Our chiefs are killed. Looking Glass is dead. Sote is dead. The old men are all dead. It is the young men who say yes or no. He who led on the young men is dead. It is cold, and we have no blankets. The little children are freezing to death. My people, some of them, have run away to the hills, and have no blankets, no food. No one knows where they are. Perhaps freezing to death. I want to have time to look for my children and see how many of them I can find. Maybe I shall find them among the dead. Hear me, my chiefs, I am tired. My heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands, I will fight no more forever. Chief Joseph Nespers, remarked during his surrender to General Oliver Howard, Eagle Creek, Montana, October 1877. The Sioux were beginning to learn that the old life must go, and that if they were to survive at all, they must follow the white man's road. Long and hard as it looked to a free people, they were beginning to plow and sow and send their children to school. Charles Alexander Eastman, Sante, Dakota, Indian Child Life, 1913. And I get some more tea. Unlike the Trail of Tears that took place in a single dreadful moment in 1838, in which several thousand Cherokee people were sent on a death march to the west, the removals of the Seminole people from Florida began earlier and lasted 20 years longer. Just like that other event, however, the toll in human suffering was profound, and the stain on the honor of a great nation, the United States, can never be erased. The Seminole people, men, women, and children, were hunted with bloodhounds and rounded up like cattle and forced onto ships that carried them to New Orleans and up the Mississippi, together with several hundred of the African ex-slaves who had fought with them. They were sent overland to Fort Gibson, Arkansas, and on to strange and inhospitable new lands where they were attacked by other tribes in a fierce competition for the scarce resources that they all needed to survive. Seminole Tribe of Florida, Indian Resistance and Removal. Seminole Tribe of Florida website, 2019. Our tribal leaders were sophisticated people. They insisted upon land, sovereignty, and federal trust protection from the onrushing settlers. In that time of crisis, one of the greatest collisions of cultures in the history of the world, our leaders relied upon those promises. Of course, promise after promise has been broken. By the end of the treaty making in 1871, tribes held 140 million acres, but the non-Indians marching west wanted more, and the General Allotment Act of 1887 was passed. Indian land was opened for homesteading on a wholesale basis, and by the 1930s, the tribal land base had dwindled to 50 million acres. Ada Deer, opening statement for her U.S. Senate confirmation, hearing for her nomination as Assistant Secretary of Indian Affairs, July 1993. And as the outsiders moved in and took control of our lands and resources, they brought another crushing burden, the heavy hand of government over our lives. With outsider control came outsider demands. My family and I were supposed to learn a new language, adopt profoundly different notions of private property. We were supposed to adjust our communal society to one based on capitalism, self-interest, and individual choice. Even before statehood, the effort to change Native Alaskans into proper Americans was starting up. A joint project of the Christian missionaries and the U.S. government. When I was 15, I was cleaned up and sent off to a boarding school in Tennessee, where I studied everything but my own people and our history. William L. Ikiakruk, Hensley, 50 Miles from Tomorrow, a memoir of Alaska and the Real People, 2008. For Cherokee families moved helter-skelter by government edict in the 1830s from their original homelands east of the Mississippi to the raw, wooded rolling rolling hills and grass-covered plains of Indian Territory, now Oklahoma. It was a scramble for survival. Everyone had been forced to start over from scratch, accumulating enough tools and equipment for clearing the lands to construct new homes, start subsistence gardens, acquire and raise food for family and animals. But more difficult was the re-establishment of a sense of community, the restructuring of a shattered culture, and the invention of new ways of being, social, economic, and spiritual. Lloyd Kiva New, The Sound of Drums, a memoir of Lloyd Kiva New, 2016. Like so many other tribes before them, the Pawnee had their own trail of tears. Tears on that trail from the Plate to the Cimarron were shed for loss of a homeland, loss of the great buffalo herds, slaughtered for their tongues and hides, and loss of a way of life. After arriving at that small Oklahoma reservation, the Pawnee people did not number 20,000. They did not number 5,000, not even 1,000. Less than 700 Pawnee people survived. Larry Echo Hawk, Devotional Address, Brigham Young University, August 2007. 100 years of submission and servitude, of protectionism and paternalism have created psychological barriers for Indian people that are far more difficult to break down and conquer than are the problems of economic and social poverty. It is hard, very hard, to know that the land that once was ours will never ever again be our hunting grounds. It is hard to bear the crime-filled streets and the liquor-selling bars where once was only peaceful grass and sobriety. We understand that we must change, and we are changing. But remember, it once was our land, our life, and it is hard. David Korchin, is SR, is that Sir or Senior? I'm not sure what the SR is. Speech to Manitoban Indian Brotherhood, 1969. So, next time I'll read this section, which is freedom, equality, justice, and activism. So, that's it for today. Essential Native Wisdom, edited by Carol Kelly Gangi. So, thank you for watching my video. Hope it helped you fall asleep a little bit. Thank you for subscribing.